Hello, dear friends. What a blessing to be with you today. Here we are together from one more Spiritist magazine program. I'm Shane Martin. I'm broadcasting to you from the Spirit Society of Richmond in Richmond, Virginia, and in collaboration with Kardec Radio and the Spiritist magazine, we bring to you this beautiful program. Every week, we read one of the articles from one of the issues of the magazine. And you can get the whole content of the Spiritist magazine free of charge visiting spiritistmagazine.org. You can buy the physical copy of the magazine. You can download the PDF version of the magazine, which is what I share with you every week to make it clear that it's very easy. Or you can download the app for your Android or Apple devices, where you can download all of the issues inside the app free of charge, and you can use it anywhere you are, waiting at the checkout line, a moment of reflection, your gospel at home, so on and so forth. So today we'll be talking about issue 62, which is the most current issue of the Spiritist magazine. Issue 62 is within the celebration of 15 years of the Spiritist magazine. And the article we chose for today is titled Recipe for Against Selfishness. And you can see at the bottom of the screen the description so that you and I can, whoever comes before the beginning in the explanation, can know where to find the topics today. This article is from the Spirit under Luiz through the mediumship of Francisco Candido Xavier in the book titled Passos da Vida, Steps of the Way, chapter 26. The message was received in September of 1957. So first and foremost, I thank you for being here today. It's always an honor to be here. And also I thank Andrea Luiz and Chico Xavier for their dedication so that we could be here today using their material from the books published for us to learn and to grow together. So without further ado, I'm sorry, that was what was looked at last week. And normally, I didn't do it today, but I will correct. And this is the cover of the magazine. You're watching, if you're watching this on the screen, if you're seeing me, you're also seeing the cover of the magazine. This is how the PDF version appears on my computer. It might look a little bit different on yours because you're going to be using a different program. I have a Macintosh computer. And then you can scroll down and find all of them. Last week, we talked about others' hopes, which I confess, it was a very important message for me last week. As this week, many things happened, including surgeries from loved ones and things we have to accommodate in being incarnated, in dealing with people and building relationships. So looking around for opportunities to serve is what this article by the Spirit Made May is all about. And today we'll talk about recipe against selfishness. Looking around to serve others is one way for us to become less selfish, because you will realize that with time, as you do more and more, you realize that we are not the only ones on the planet that need help. And we can bundle together to be of service to one another. And that will help us guard against selfishness. So he's going to note 10 items. You can see here the first 6, and then 7, 8, 9, 10 on the other side of the page. And I'm just cruising zooming in and out of the PDF so that we can have a smaller number of items, each and one at a time. That helps with focus and attention, right? All right. So he says, first recipe is try to forget the dark side of your neighbor's personality. When we interact with people, do we see the good, or do we see their darker side, their shadow side, right? Do we do what Emmanuel says in the book For in Life, chapter 10? Do we visualize the good, feel the good, mold the good, and seek the good? Or we focus on what's still missing? Remember, we are all spirits in different levels of evolution. We are here to grow together, and some things we are short, others have. And I'm not talking only about physical. So, for example, some have to take the bus, others bicycle, others have cars, right? If someone's lacking a car, they may have a bicycle and vice versa. Not the best analogy. I'm talking about abilities and spiritual acquisitions. So sometimes, even within one day, we'll lack empathy and be empathetic, lack compassion and be compassionate. So if someone has an aptitude in this life, it will most likely complement what we don't have. So they may be more skilled in one thing, and then I'm skilled in another thing, and we come together to fulfill the law of society. Therefore, we need to forget the shortcomings in others, in ourselves as well. But this is about being less selfish. So we look at others and see the potential, see the divine essence, because that's what the book Living Spring, chapter 30, will teach us through Emmanuel. We all has the gene as the DNA of divinity inside of us. So when Jesus looks at us, he does not see what's still missing. He sees the potential of the brilliant, pure spirit that one day we will be. He says, learn to listen calmly to your others' long observations without the urge to interrupt them. A skill that if you can master, you will be the most sought after person in your neighborhood. It's very difficult nowadays, in the age of dopamine hits, where everybody is looking to be busy, 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 with human doings, not human beings, to just listen to someone without interrupting them. We constantly notice it on yourself, in ourselves. Just make it, remove the I, right? It's about the recipe against selfishness, and put ours. Our behavior is so that when we're talking to others, we are thinking about what I'm going to say next. When you train to be a counselor, a psychologist, a chaplain, you train in listening skills. If you want to get specific, curated advice, I recommend the book Jesus in the Home by Neil Lucio, where Neil Lucio describes to us how Jesus did exactly this. The apostles are talking, they're discussing, at times they're complaining, just like you and I. They're bringing their problems, and Jesus is listening. He's smiling with his eyes. He's emanating all the love that only a Christ Spirit can emanate. And then he waits for the right time. There's one instance in the book that I can think of that when he interrupts someone, is a woman, but he does that out of love because she's about to start crying, and he interrupts so she doesn't get embarrassed in front of others. But most of the time, he's interacting with the apostles, a beautiful way of speaking with body language and being measured, something we need to learn. Forget the illusion that your relatives are the best people in the world and that your home deserves special privileges. This is we see a lot these days. It's all about our family, our kids, ours, mine. But we are a network. The law is not of isolation. The law is of society. If I hoard all the resources to my family, see, I'm using the I, my, mine pronouns. And then others will have less. And when they have less, they don't develop their potential. Therefore, it will come back to me at some point in the form of social aspects where maybe I'll be less secure, because when someone doesn't have something, they will fall prey to crime, for example. When my kids go to the best schools in the best areas, but then 10 miles down the road, those kids don't have the resources, what makes me think I'm more privileged than those? They're also children of God. If their academic achievements are less, they learn less they can contribute and give back to society one day. And that's going to be, maybe they'll even end up in the social network, the safety nets. And then we're all paying into it so we can help those who are in need. So everything is about balance. We need to fight for and work for, not fight for, remove those kind of verbs from our vocabulary. We need to work together. Yes, I want you to have a good house, a good home, a car, your kids to go to great schools. But why do we think we are the ones who have to have everything? Right? If everybody tomorrow decided that everybody deserves to fly first class, or consume as much as we consume, we'll be in trouble if we're not already in trouble in terms of economic and environmental impacts of our activities. So everything is interrelated. Do not dispute the paternity of useful ideas, even if they have crossed your mind, since the authorship of all elevation services belongs in its foundation to Jesus, our Master and Lord. This is interesting too, especially in the Spiritist movement, right? Sometimes we want to take ownership. This is my idea. I came up with it. But if the idea is useful, ultimately it came from the higher realms. What we see and experience in the world is a reflection of the spiritual world. So maybe you went to the spiritual realm, had a beautiful conversation with higher spirit, with your mentor, took a class, and you brought that idea to there. If it wasn't yours, but back in the flesh, we think it's ours. So he's saying the recipe against selfishness is, if the idea is good, it's benefiting others, let people have authorship as well. So do not cultivate references to your own person, so that vanity does not make a nest in your heart. It's hard, especially in the age where everybody wants to be vulnerable. We want to connect with people. So sometimes speakers, such as myself, we share experiences of our daily lives, as I started in the beginning. Right? When the Others' Hopes was the article from last week. When someone dear to me is having surgery today, I'm reaching out and be like, do you need anything? Does your family need anything? This is a moment of vulnerability where I am making references to my own. That doesn't mean I'm telling you I'm great, perfect. But I'm sharing a story, not out of vanity, but as an example of how we can use these teachings in the daily lives. The more we study Spiritism, the more we have the teachings in our hearts, then when time comes, we'll be able to pull that in and use it. So let's not make references on one person, so that vanity does not make a nest in our hearts. Listen with serenity and silence. And Luiz could have ended here as a complement to the previous one, right? Listen without trying to interrupt. Because sometimes when we listen, we disagree, then we get anxious and not serene. To the harsh or bitter remarks of your hierarchical superiors. This is, it can be maybe those who come before us in the Spiritist center we go to, not their superiors, but they've been there before, they have more experience. Maybe it's your boss at work. And then they have remarks for us. They have things that they're pointing out that we need to work on. And then to listen with serenity and silence is difficult. But sometimes when people criticize us, it could be that there's truth to the criticism. And because we are, it's hard for us to listen to criticism. And he says, help, calm and kindly, your companions or subordinates when they're touched by the cloud of disturbance. So it's a balance. If I have someone who works with me and they're going through a difficult time, I need to help calmly and kindly, not harshly, not in a hurry, but with your heart. Because it's truly about feeling the teachings of the gospel in your heart more than just knowing. Because everyone will be touched by the cloud of disturbance. At work, at home, the Spiritist Center, in your community, at the school children go to. That's the truth on the earth. It's a world of trials and expiations. It's not a world of going to the beach and have fun every day. It's trials and expiations. We're not in the planet of regeneration. Even in the planet of regeneration, if you go to the Gospel according to Spiritism, it's right behind you in my head. Chapter 3, you'll see there's not a divine world. There's 5 levels. We are the second. Regeneration is in the middle. It is neutral. There's still going to be evil, but we're tired. We're convalescents. We're right after surgery where we are doing this triage. Am I choosing to be less selfish so I can have the option to remain on the earth with my loved ones? Or am I incurring in selfishness and evil? Then I will be asked to go somewhere else. Actually, the self-selection. Because when people are doing the things they're doing out in the world, for example, starting wars, committing homicides, it's a self-selection. They're using their free will. That means they're not going to be allowed to stay. If the planet is evolving, which is a law of progress, they're going to have to go somewhere else and be away for a little bit and have different experience so the growth can occur at some point. And listen, all of these things, if you think about it, forget the dark side of others, right? No gossip, no commenting, no criticism. Listen calmly without interrupting, forgetting that we are the best, the illusion that we are the best, that our family members are the best. Not disputing ideas. It's all about me. I had the idea. I work hard, not everybody else, but it all coming from Jesus. Not bringing about our own. It's about me, my mind. Listen with serenity and silence. If we can do those things, we will be able to be well prepared from when the true regeneration and then happy and divine worlds come in the future, because it's a gradual. Change is gradual. Receive neurasthenic or deranged people with affection, vaccinating your liver and your heart against mental intemperance. So if someone comes to you discombobulated, mentally deranged, irritability, fatigue, headache, they will present to you imbalanced. So this mental intemperance is important for us to vaccinate ourselves against. That's when the compassion, the empathy, the silence, the listening can be very helpful. Abandon all kinds of criticism, understanding that you could be on the bench of disapproval. Let's put ourselves in the shoes of others. If I were the one who were in difficulties, would I like to be criticized and put down by others, or would I like them to listen with calmly and care to help me, to not just point out what's wrong with me, but would I like them to move forward? Get used to respecting individuals who adopt points of view different from yours. Very timely in this world. Everybody's very fast to dismiss others when the point of view are different. We have lost the ability of having conversations, of understanding the experiences are different, and discussing the data, using the data that we have and facts, not fake news, but facts, and having a conversation and respecting those who have different points of view and who have chosen a type of happiness different from yours. So if I'm happy eating chocolate, I cannot dismiss those who are happy eating cucumbers, even though it probably be healthier eating more cucumbers, right? So people will choose different types of happiness in their mind based on their experience in this life and based on the conditionings they bring from other lives, in order to live on earth with the necessary balance, respecting individuals who adopt different points of view and choose differently. This is especially important when we start in the Spiritist work. Not many people will see, experience the joy that it is to be at a Spiritist center. Especially when they see happiness as going to the park, to the beach, to travel on a Sunday, and you are there listening about Kardec, giving passes, receiving passes, serving with the water, or maybe you have a talent for music, for example. All of that is service, and it's joyful. It fuels your soul, it nourishes your soul. And many people are not going to understand that because their happiness will be to always go to the beach, to the lake, to travel, to do on the same Sunday where you are here serving. I say here in the Spiritist Center because I'm actually at the Spiritist Center right now, serving, taking the time that is precious to you in this lifetime to understand that you're more than the physical senses. And that's challenging because you're going to be swimming against the tide. And your family may not understand you, they may sabotage you, and they may convince you that's not worth it. And then we waste incarnation after reincarnation looking after the type of happiness that is of this world, that is ephemeral, that is temporary, versus building the spiritual muscle to withstand the difficulties and build for the future. 10, honor charity in your own home, helping in the first place your own family members through the rigorous performance of your obligations. So what are our obligations at home? Who reincarnated with us? Who received us? Who was loaned to us by God to be our offspring? And what are our obligations to them? Without thinking that we are special, they're special, they are unique, and they have a very important role in the universe. Otherwise, God wouldn't have created them, right? But we are here to help one another. So what is the performance? Which obligations do we have? And how can we better serve one another? So that you are truly qualified to serve the world and humanity today and always. Isn't that a beautiful reminder, dear friends, that it's all about being less selfish? Recipe Against Selfishness by the Spirit under Luiz through the mediumship of Francisco Candido Xavier. Dear friends, I hope that you stay under the guidance and protection of God, feeling the loving presence of your mentors with you and with us. And I hope between now and next week, you can take these teachings and apply them to your daily lives. They can help yourself and many people. And until then, God willing, I'll be back with you next week with another article from the Spiritist magazine. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.